David, this my song. You lead all the songs in the Temptations, but here you is sitting up here trying to lead my song. You got all your own songs. You ain't got to be trying to steal my song. This is my song. Now, if you want to see how somebody sing, sit back here and watch me kill it. Play the music. Did y'all hear that? Did you hear how good Paul Williams sang? Baby, he could sing. I don't care what nobody say. Anyways, this is Ashley with Ashley Says So. Coming back to you with another old Hollywood scandals video, Motown edition. Always somebody from Motown, Lord have mercy. But they got a lot of scandals under their belt. This video was requested, as you can see. I think I put it at the top of the video. Requested multiple times actually. So let's get to it. But before we do, go ahead and like and subscribe to this video because you know you're gonna like the juice, honey. So let's get to it. The life and death of Paul Williams. Paul Williams was born July 2nd, 1939 in the Inslee section of Birmingham, Alabama. His mother was Sophia and his father was Rufus Williams. Rufus actually sang with a local gospel group called the Inslee Jubilee Singers. Paul, wanting to follow in his father's footsteps and having a great voice of his own, also started singing in his church. And I'm sure a lot of you Temptations fans know this already, but Paul and Eddie Kendricks actually both came from Birmingham, Alabama. Apparently, they went to the same school. They didn't know each other at the time, but they bumped into each other in the hallway. And of course, they got upset. They were arguing back and forth. And then Paul went and took a bucket of dirty mop water and dumped it on Eddie. And so at that point, they were going at it. They were fist fighting. After that, they became friends. When they became friends, they found out that they both loved to sing. That's when they got them and another fellow, and they started their own group called the Cavaliers. Now, the Cavaliers, of course, could sing, but ain't nobody going nowhere for real in Alabama. That's the trouble that I'm having. I want to act, but I'm in Alabama. So they did what I need to do, and they moved away. And they went to Cleveland, Ohio. And everything was good. You know, they were touring. And while they were touring, they actually caught the eye of Milton Jenkins. And he became their manager. And he was like, yeah, you guys are doing okay in Ohio, but So he relocated them to Detroit, Michigan. And while they were there, they changed their name from the Cavaliers to the Primes. Their success with the touring was so great that three young ladies, Miss Diane Ross, Mary Wilson, and Florence Ballard, came to visit them and was like, please, we want to sing with you guys. We'll do backup, we'll do whatever, but you guys are hot and we want to sing with you. So they let them. They actually became a spinoff group called the Primettes. And of course, we know them today as the Supremes. By 1961, the Primes, like I said, they were having success with touring. Like they were making money, but not enough money where they could actually live on. You know, those little small town clubs and talent shows, that's not enough money to live on. So Eddie Kendricks actually moved back to Birmingham. The second guy in the group, he moved to California, but Paul stayed put in Detroit, Michigan. Eddie and Paul, of course, stayed friends, so Eddie would come up to visit from time to time. And on one of those visits, Paul told him, hey, do you remember that cat Otis Williams? You know, he got that group, The Distance. And, you know, Eddie's like, yeah, I remember Otis. What about it? And Paul is like, so, you know, The Distance were a really good group. You know, we rivaled against them while we were touring. Eddie's like, yeah, what's up? So Paul is like, well, Otis actually fired two of his members. He has 2 openings and, you know, let's go sing with him. So Eddie was like, okay, cool. So they went and auditioned for Otis Williams and Otis was like, yeah, nobody has a voice like Paul and definitely didn't nobody have a voice like Eddie around there. So like, yeah, like you guys are in, like come right now. So now he and Paul have joined Otis Williams in his group. And of course, they've changed their name to the Temptations. Their early music, it was good, but it just was not good enough to be like #1 and a big hit on the charts. They had minor success, let's put it that way. At that time in the Temptations, there was Elbridge Bryant, there was Otis Williams, there was Paul, there was Eddie, and there was Melvin Franklin. And those were actually the original 5. They broke up because Elbridge had an anger problem. I mean, he was always ready to fight, always cursing somebody out. And this was actually shown in the Temptations miniseries, this fight that I'm about to talk about and what got Elbridge kicked out of the group. Just one day after a show, he was drinking and had an attitude, and him and Paul got into it. And so Elbridge actually took action and took a glass bottle and busted upside Paul's head, left a cut on his face. What is wrong with Elbridge? Elbridge is doing too much. This is too much. We can't have it. Get out, Elbridge. Get out. And so that's what they did. They kicked him out of the group. He left. He quit. Super big mistake for him, but hey, sometimes that's how the cards fall. Now, after Elbridge left, Paul became their #1 lead singer. Outside of, Eddie when they needed high-pitched songs and things like that. But Paul was actually the #1 lead singer now that Elbridge was gone. But success was still fleeting. So with Elbridge leaving, that left a space open in the group, and that's actually how David Ruffin came into the group. If Elbridge would not have quit, David Ruffin wouldn't have been able to come in and just steal the shine like that. But because Elbridge did quit, there was an open space. David Ruffin came in and he opened his mouth and everybody was like, oh, where did this angel come from? So, of course, he took over the lead. Now, a lot of people like to say, a lot of sources like to say that, Paul just took it in stride. He was cool with everything. Baby, that is not the truth, honey. Paul was recorded saying like shit, I can sing too. Like verbatim, those words. Like, I can sing too, shit. Or shit, I can sing too. One of those were the right words. But he ended up like, what is going on? Y'all sitting up here giving this newcomer, this skinny bird dude with these glasses on. Y'all sitting up there giving him all the, all the songs. They were like, yep, you know what? You're right. So to appease him, they gave him the single, Don't Look Back, which is the song that I was playing at the beginning of this video. Good song, funky, I love it. So with the success of the Temptations, and actually this may have happened before they became successful, whatever the case, Paul got married to a Miss Mary Agnes Williams. I cannot find the year that they got married, and Lord knows I searched high and low, but I can tell you that they did get married and they had 5 children. And the children's names were, and remember this because you're going to need this for later on. But anyways, the children's names were Kenneth Williams, Paula Williams, Sarita Williams, Paul Williams Jr., Mary Williams. Now that is not in chronological order as far as their age, because I don't know who was born first, who was born last. I'm just giving you the children's name. And of course, like it always does, hold on, let me make this clear. They were not getting paid a lot of money, but they were getting paid more money than Paul had ever seen. And so with that money comes bad habits, like always. And so women started parading in and out of his life. He actually had a long-term relationship with a side lady named Winnie Brown. Now, she was a hairstylist for Motown, and she also was a cousin to Florence Ballard. He actually loved Winnie Brown. He fell in love with her, but he would not leave his wife. On top of his cheating behavior, he started to drink alcohol. He became an alcoholic, which this was a big deal because before that, Paul Williams would drink nothing but milk. He actually used to carry milk in a flask. Somewhere along the line, the milk turned into alcohol. I believe this is because he probably was having problems with his wife. Also, he had the side chicks. And like I said, Motown was paying them money and he was excited and happy at first. But then he, like other members of the group, Temptations, and other people in Motown in general, started to see like, hey, wait a minute, this is not enough money. Y'all are not paying us enough money. We're bringing in millions and we can't even get $250,000, let alone $500,000. Like, why are we not getting paid? We should not be getting paid kind of like what somebody at a regular job is getting paid. Like, nah, no. Where's our money? But Berry Gordy and Motown were strict with their contracts, and like their artists got paid this and they took home this and they took home the majority. And it was that's just the way it was. Like, to them, they were pretty much saying, like, you should be glad that we're even giving you a chance. People would kill to be in your position. So, just be glad you're famous. You got a little bit of money. So be happy with that. But Paul and many like him were not happy with that. Also, this is around the time that Paul found out that he had sickle cell anemia. I really want to touch on this because I've read a lot on this issue. And some of the videos, like Temptations videos on YouTube, it's a lot of things where people think Paul is drunk. And he probably is on some of the performances. But a lot of the performances, it's not that he was drunk. It's that he was in so much pain that he could not really keep up with the dance moves like he used to. This made Paul swirl into a horrible depression. The first thing that started the depression is that they fired him as the choreographer of the group. All of their early dance moves, Paul made those dance moves up. He was a great choreographer, but they wanted somebody professional to come in, so they let Charlie Atkins take his place in the group as the choreographer. So Paul started to feel like, okay, y'all already replaced me as the lead singer. So now you're taking away my spot as the choreographer too? Like, I don't want to just sit up here and be a background. I don't want that. That's not what I want. And I kind of understand because Otis Williams was a background, but he was the Temptations. Like, that's his group. He started the group. So even though he was sitting in the background, like, that's his doggone group. Melvin Franklin, his voice was, he was the bass. He was a backup kind of, but he was the bass. Nobody else had the bass. You see what I'm saying? The problem is, and Eddie Kendricks, he was a background, but nobody else had that high pitch soprano. Nobody did. But Paul pretty much was like just a hanger on of David. They had the same alto, I guess that's what they are, or a high tenor. I'm not sure what to call it. But you see what I'm saying? So it was like they already had that in David. So Paul was just like, dang it, what am I doing? Like, y'all are just pushing me to the background. I don't want to do this. At least let me stay choreographer. And they did not. They took that from him. So that was the first thing that started the depression. Second thing that started the depression is that they ended up sitting him aside. Basically, they didn't let him go. They didn't fire him, but they kind of sat him down and was like, hey, your sickle cell is like messing you up. You're drinking. You got too much going on, and the audience is starting to notice that you're not in tune with everybody else. So just sit on the side and get yourself together. This is where the depression really sprang up and bit him in the behind. Like, he was being reckless out here. He was going sleeping with everybody, messing up his happy home. As a matter of fact, he would be dead very soon. And when his death came, a divorce was pending with Mary Agnes. So that shows you just how far gone he was. Now, let's get to the scandalous tale of his death. On the night of August 17th, 1973, he's at his girlfriend's house. The current girlfriend. He had plenty, but this was the current girlfriend that had actually just bought a new house, and he's at her house. Okay, they get into an argument. I don't know exactly what it was about, but whatever the case was, it was bad enough where he stormed out of the house and got in his car, and he drove like a block up in an alleyway very close to her house, as well as close to the Motown studio. And I don't know what happened from there. I'm not at liberty to say because I was not there. Nobody was there. Well, I guess nobody was there. But I can tell you that hours later, he was found slumped over the steering wheel and he was dead. And it was ruled a suicide. But this is where it gets scandalous, child, and kind of murky. Because Paul was right-handed. But they said the bullet hole was in the left side of his head. So who does this? Who takes their right hand and shoots themselves in the left side of the head? Now, I also read a report that there was a gunshot in the middle of his head. I can believe that more than I can believe him reaching all the way to the other side of his head and holding the gun. You almost can't even shoot. You can't even hold the gun like that. And what makes it even crazier is that he only had swim trunks on. It just seems a little bit odd that this person would go with only swim trunks on. I don't know what they wore in the early 70s as far as men. I don't know if they had boxers briefs. But, I'm pretty sure they had some kind of lounge shorts that were not swim trunks. And then here's the thing. Paul Williams was getting ready to go solo. A few weeks before he died, he had recorded a bunch of songs that he was going to get ready to put out because he wanted to go solo. So that's a little weird to me. I don't know. I'm not going to say that he was murdered. I don't know. But it is a really, really sketchy to me. Did he maybe owe some money to somebody? Is that why he was wanting, forcing Motown to give him more money? Was somebody mad that he was about to go solo? What happened? It just seems so weird. And Eddie Kendricks, he said that Paul was done with his drinking. He said that Paul had finished drinking, probably quit drinking probably 6 weeks before he died. So he said that he shouldn't have been drunk, So maybe something happened that day and he picked up the bottle and, but I will say that his daughter Paula posted something on Facebook not too long ago, and I've posted it here. You can see it somewhere. Y'all, I know I'm sitting up there finding that girl Facebook, just lurking. I'm the lurker, but I gotta do it in order to bring y'all the tea. So don't be judging me. Don't do it, guys. She posted and she says that, hey, my father's death was a suicide. Like, I know y'all want to call it a murder. I know that everybody believes this, but it was a suicide and that's it. So if his daughter says that, then hey, you know, maybe it was a suicide. I mean, I could still say that she wasn't there, but she's his daughter, so she knows much more than what we know. Now, let's get to his daughter, Miss Paula, and the rest of his children. Baby, Paul had some scandalous stuff happen when it comes to his children, honey. First of all, let's say this. After his death, he had extra children come out that the children with his wife, they didn't even know about, okay? The first one was Paul Williams Lucas. Now, on this one they did. They knew that Paul had messed around with his mom before. So when he came around, they were kind of like, you know, okay, well, we kind of do think you're our brother. But then there's this other one that came around named Derek Vineyard. And he came around and was like, hey, Paul was my daddy too. I want some of that money too. So that's when Paula said, you ain't my brother. I don't know you. I never seen your mama. And that's when Paul's brother, Johnny Williams, stepped in and said, yes, that is, I believe that's Paul's son, because I saw him with that boy's mother. Now, with Johnny Williams saying that in his testimony, that did help, where the judge was like, okay, yeah, Derek, you can get some of this money too. Let's get into the most scandalous thing, and this is involving his son, Kenneth Williams. How about this guy is a murderer? In 1989, he actually killed his 81-year-old great aunt by shooting her in the head and strangling her with a telephone cord. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Paul probably wasn't the best father, but surely he ain't somewhere raising murderers. Kenneth said that it was due to drugs. He said at 19, he had his first blunt. At 25, he tried cocaine. And at 27, that's when everything went crazy because he tried crack. So he actually was sentenced to 20 years for that. And he served his 20 years. And here's the messy part where it involves Paula. Baby, that man got out that doggone jail and wasn't no money left. 20 years of monies gone. You know who got the monies? Paula, honey. Paula stole all her brother money. For the first 10 years, everything was good. They were getting their money. Everything was all right. And then after those 10 years, like, she was stealing their money. She would not give them their money, him or her sisters and brothers. And I don't know if this is fact or fiction. I'm just telling you what Kenneth said, or what I read that Kenneth said. Speaking on the children of Motown, y'all, if y'all think Paul Williams' son is bad, baby, it's so many Motown legends with children that have had scandalous things happen to them. I'm actually going to do a video by itself on that because it's just so many of them. Let me get this out the clear because I need to really get this out the clear. When I do my old Hollywood scandals, it's just about like scandals, like gossip, tea. The same way these new celebrities get all this tea and make people make videos about them, I just so happen not to really care about them. I care about the old-timey celebrities, and apparently you guys do too. So when you tune in to me, tune in and get ready to hear some juicy stuff, some tea. All of it may not be facts. All of it may not be true. I hope it is, but I was not there back then. So I can only go by the books and websites and things that I research. That's the only thing I can go by. And interviews that I do with some of the family members, things like that. Those are the only things that I can go by. So I am sorry if some of the details that you're like, oh, you're like, that didn't happen, or some of the details are wrong. I'm sorry about that, but it's tea. It's gossip and it's tea, you know, because I've seen some of the comments where people are like, you know, where do you get your information? Where do you get, baby, I get my information from everywhere. If it's gossip, it's tea, I see it, I'm going to put it in the video. And you guys can go and decipher and sort it out. But this video is for entertainment, tea, gossip, and some facts where I can find them. So thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead once again and like and subscribe to this video. I'll be doing another video soon.